Bitcoin is below $70,000. I got stopped out. Some whales are dumping millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin while others are buying like crazy. And despite the events in the world, the Fed does not change the rate in the United States. In short, it was hell of a day and we have a lot of things to discuss. But before we get to the news, let's take a look at the current prices. The current price of Bitcoin is $69,900, and as you can see, my stop loss worked, bringing me a loss of $550. Is it worth waiting for a reversal in the near future, or will it continue to just fall? It is not clear yet, and let's try to find the answer in the news. And Ethereum is also engaged in skydiving, but at least for now it remains above $2,000, and now the price is $2,150. And now we're moving on to the news. Bitcoin dipped below $70,000 as energy prices surge. A new day. As everyone has already understood, Bitcoin knocked me over and again could not resist falling below $70,000, and now it's hanging at $69,917. So that is minus 5.7% per day. Altcoins pulled themselves into the red zone, losing 4 to 7%, and the total volume of liquidations futures exceeded $558 million. Spot Bitcoin ETF interrupted a 7-day series of inflows and recorded an outflow of $129,000.6 million. And all of this is happening against the background of the Fed meeting, where the rate was left in a range of 3.5 to 3.75%, but we'll talk about it just in a minute. Analyst Michael van de Pope philosophically noted oil and gas are growing, gold is failing by 4%, indices are in the red, and the Bitcoin has sunk by only 3.5%. In his opinion, this isn't even a good thing against the background of global uncertainty, you know? Bad retail investors apparently do not think so. An abnormal surge in cryptocurrency transfers to Binance has been recorded, and it is $131,000.8 million in just 1 hour. And this is the largest indicator since January, and usually such movements mean that people have to run to fix their profit or losses before it's too late. SEC approves Nasdaq's tokenized equities trading pilot. So the SEC decided to please all tokenization fans and gave the green light to Nasdaq to trade tokenized stocks. The commission approved the exchange's proposal, which concerns securities from the Russell 1000 index and a number of ETFs. Clearing and settlements will remain in the traditional system DTC for the time being, but the fact is that the brokers will not be able to mark RWA orders with special marks, and after the transaction is executed, Nasdaq will transmit instructions to the depository. If DTC has problems with the blockchain or wallet, the calculations will be just carried out in the old way without tokens. By the way, Nasdaq filed this application back in September 2025, comparing tokenization with the historical transition to electronic trading. In November, the head of the exchange's digital division named RWA as the top priority. And it's official now. The experts are already triumphing. This is not just a rule change. This is the official adoption of Wall Street tokenization. The capitalization of this sector is already $27.32 billion, and now it has an official indulgence from the main regulator. If you like my content, don't forget to like up this video and subscribe to the channel. This way you won't miss the next news yourself and will help my channel grow. Fed holds rates steady at 3.5 to 3.75% as markets shift focus to geopolitics. The Fed again decided not to change anything and left the key rate in a range of 3.5 to 3.75%. And this is the second meeting in a row without changes after a series of easing measures.
My colleagues and I remain squarely focused on achieving our dual mandate goals of maximum employment and stable prices for the benefit of the American people. The U.S. economy has been expanding at a solid pace. While job gains have remained low, the unemployment rate has been little changed in recent months, and inflation remains somewhat elevated. Today, the FOMC decided to leave our policy rate unchanged.
Jerome Powell traditionally threw his hands up in the air at the press conference, saying the economy is growing, unemployment is low, inflation is still high, and the consequences of the Iranian events for the United States are still vague. He added an increase in energy price will lead to an increase in overall inflation, but it is too early to assess the scale and duration right now, hinting that oil at $100 per barrel is not an option to completely ignore right now. And Bitcoin reacted to this news with a drop, but as experts correctly noted, the fact that I and other retail traders eliminated our problems right now, and in fact the drop is not particularly significant. Crypto exchange Kraken freezes multi-billion-dollar IPO plan due to difficult market conditions. So Kraken decided that going public in the current environment was not a good idea and froze its IPO plans indefinitely. Although back in September and November of 2025, they were actively preparing, they raised $500 million at an estimate of $15 billion, then another $800 million, and they reached the capitalization of $20 billion. The placement was expected to take place in the first quarter of 2026, but now everything has been postponed until the market stabilizes. A representative of the exchange confirmed that a confidential application had been filed with the SEC, but declined to comment on the timing. In general, the position is clear. I understand them. The moment is really not the best. Bitcoin OG sells $72 million in Bitcoins as whales flood exchange deposits. Legendary whales come out of hibernation and capture profits that ordinary traders never even dreamt of. On March 18th, a whale that bought 5,000 Bitcoins back in 2013 for $332, imagine that, spending over just $1.5 million, sent another batch of 1,000 Bitcoins worth $71.6 million to Binance. Since November 2024, he has already sold 3,500 coins at an average price of $94,786, earning $330 million in net profit. At the same time, he still has 1,500 Bitcoins left for like $106.8 million. Another early investor, presumably Owen Gander, is also not far behind. He sold another 650 Bitcoins for $46.3 million, and in total with the previous transactions, about 11,000 Bitcoins for $1 billion. Does this mean that the smartest come out of cryptocurrencies? That's not really the case right now. Most of the early investors came in without any expectation to see such growth. So it's too early to draw conclusions, especially since while Bitcoin whales are exiting the cash, Ethereum whales, on contrary, are entering. An unknown trader who sold 28,683 Ethereums at the price of $3,892 7 months ago bought them again yesterday, but this time he bought 50,706 Ethereums for $111.6 million at an average price of $2,201. The ideal option is buy at the bottom, sell at the top, only with a gap of like half a year. OpenClaw hype triggered phishing attacks on crypto wallets. The madness continues in China. At first, everyone went crazy and installed this AI assistant for money and then paid to remove it. And now the scammers have decided that hype needs to be monetized in their own way. The attackers basically created fake accounts on GitHub, opened discussions in fake repositories, and promised developers $5,000 in Claw tokens. The victims are taken to OpenClaw Cologne site where they are offered to connect a wallet to receive the reward. Naturally, after connecting, all the money just goes into the pockets of attackers. And the campaign goes through GitHub and email newsletters, and the domain TokenClaw XYZ needs to be blocked by now. But this is just the tip of an iceberg. OpenClaw founder Peter Steinberger himself, who was recently poached by OpenAI, has faced aggressive pressure from the crypto community. He was basically required to launch an official token, implement commissions, and develop Web3 integrations. But since Steinberger is flatly against it, fans created the coin themselves and are spamming Discord and X demanding recognition. It got to the point where the author was thinking of deleting the entire project. On March 18th, he officially declared that any crypto-related offers related to OpenClaw are fraud. But people apparently do not hear it. The project's repository has gained 324,000 stars on GitHub, and it's the 9th place in the whole world. And phishers continue to fool gullible suckers. And that's all the news for today, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye!